All right, this episode of Bouts Talking Bouts is brought to you by Sovereign Extracts. Check out their great CBD cartridges, also THC cartridges, some hybrids, a litany of CBD oils, but also shout out to USG Canada, some great apparel and equipment for MMA fighters, boxers, and just fans alike. On today's show, I'm talking to an individual who's a big fight coming up at UFC Fight Night 173. It goes at the UFC Apex June 20th in Las Vegas. Cortney Casey taking on Gillian Robertson, and I've got Cortney on the show. How's your day going so far there, Cortney?
Pretty good so far. It's nice and hot here in Arizona, but I mean, other than baking out in the sun, it's been going good.
Yeah, well, that's good to hear. I'm kind of wondering about your thoughts on your opponent here. I mean, they have some notable wins at flyweight for sure. They seem kind of tenured in that sort of class, and obviously represents a quick turnaround for you, which seemed to be something that you were wanting. So, what are your thoughts overall on just your opponent's skill set, but just the matchup coming to fruition in general?
The reason why we took the fight is because we like the matchup. I mean, it's definitely a super quick turnaround, but I didn't take any damage in my last fight, so we kind of talked it over for about a day, and we decided that it was a good matchup and something that we didn't want to, you know, let go. So we enjoy it. I mean, she likes to strike a little bit, set up her takedown. She's really good at jiu-jitsu. She likes to really play, I guess you can say, with her jiu-jitsu. She doesn't just kind of sit and hold you. She tries to look for submissions and stuff like that, which I think is going to be definitely fun. Her striking's pretty good, and she sets up her takedowns well. So I definitely think that wherever the fight goes, it's going to be a good matchup.
And I'm kind of wondering what benefits you get from this quick turnaround, just with your last fight being May 16th and this coming one being June 20th, like I was saying, but also the context of you having that 15-month layoff prior to your last fight. Are you looking to have this kind of a busy schedule going forward? Is there some sense of like trying to make up for lost time, just be as active as possible?
I don't think I'm trying to make up for lost time. I mean, I've always tried to stay as busy as I could. I say it all the time. My contract's in fight, so if fights get presented to me, I'm not one to turn them down. And I got the call on Tuesday after my fight, and I think I agreed to it on Wednesday. I got it like Tuesday night. I was over at my sister's house and barely getting ready to celebrate. She just gave me cookies and everything, and then I got a phone call from my manager and put the cookies away, and we went home and started watching film. So, I mean, if they give me another one, after this, just it really depends on the matchup and how I am feeling physically. I think that's the main thing. Is I took a lot of fights, a lot of short notice fights at 15, a lot of quick turnarounds at 15, and I think with that weight cut and then just pretty much being in camp over and over and over again, it really took a toll on my body, and it kind of caught up to me the last year. And I was sidelined with a few injuries that I really needed to sit down and really focus on recovering my body. And after that last fight, we didn't take any injuries, and we kind of talked it over and talked to Heather and Charles over at the PI, and we decided that it was good to go.
Yeah, and what a performance that last outing there. I mean, the first finish since 2016, a triumphant return to the flyweight division after applying your trade at strawweight for a little while. Was that as idealistic of a performance as you could have hoped for in that situation? Because, I mean, it seemed like the quintessential kind of performance.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm always trying to get the finish. It doesn't seem to go my way when I go to the judges, so it's always something in the back of my head to try to get the finish wherever the fight goes. But I mean, considering having 15 months layoff, battling back to back injuries, coronavirus, just life in general, to go out there and get a win like that, and in the first round was just kind of like the perfect scenario that could have happened.
Yeah, and I imagine there was a lot of uncertainties heading into that fight, just in as far as like the whole no fans and just what the competition is going to be like in that regard. Did you take anything from that prior performance that you think will lend itself to fighting in front of no fans for this next one here? Like, is there any kind of like residual benefit from that last fight, or not so much?
I really enjoyed it. Like honestly, as a fan watching it, the weekend before, I really enjoyed it, and then actually being a part of it, it kind of seemed more true to martial arts than a like spectator sport, I guess you can say, with all the fans and everything like that. It was more intimate, more personal. Um, there wasn't, the booing and the wooing and all that stuff that goes on. When you have the fans, it was really just people there watching the fight. Very little. I guess you can say commentary and stuff from fans and things like that. It was really just the people there watching the fight, and that was it. They were just there to look and enjoy, the art side of it and the martial arts side of it. Then, as far as like feeling off the crowd and things like that, which I've heard that some people liked it, some people didn't like it, some judges liked it, some judges didn't like it, things like that. But me as an athlete and as a fan, I enjoyed it quite well.
Well, those are some interesting insights for sure. And just kind of curious here because I'd seen a prior interview of yours where you were talking about some of the time at strawweight, and sometimes that style can be more akin to, like the play the game, point fighting kind of style, I believe was how you'd phrased it. But strawweight, or rather flyweight, is more of a division that's like, embrace the fight. It's like more finish oriented. And something I was seeing from John Morgan actually was that the cage that'll be used for the Apex shows is the smaller one, the 25 octagon, as opposed to the 30 octagon there. So to that point, do you think like the dimensions of the cage lend itself even more to that sort of like fight heavy, like, flyweight kind of style?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anytime you get a smaller cage, you're forcing people to, interact with each other more. Some people say a smaller cage is more of a grappler's cage because they have an advantage of pushing up against the cage and taking you down. You have strikers that say, oh no, it's more of a striking cage. At the end of the day, it's a cage. Does it force you to fight a little bit more? Yeah, but it forces you to fight regardless of where it goes, whether it's on the ground or standing. The bigger cage just gives you a little bit more space to move, but to me, it really doesn't matter. Like I said before, like wherever the fight goes, I'm trying to finish it there. If they want to stand and bang, I'm going to try to finish there. If they want to take it to the ground, I'm going to try to submit you there. So it doesn't matter the size of the cage for me.
Yeah, for sure. I get what you're saying on that end and everything, but it seems to be like there's some pretty key fights in this division coming up here. Like even on just the same card there, it looks like they're looking to do Roxanne Modafferi against Lauren Murphy, with the number 5 fighter going against the number 6 as per UFC's ranking system. Obviously, your focus is allocated totally towards this fight, but is there any level of like, following the division and just, seeing how it moves and everything like that and trying to figure out what your future is in relation to that?
Man, my job is just to go out there and take one fight at a time. If those fight comes, it comes. From what I've known and heard, is the winner of that fight will of Roxy and Murphy will be the next, you know, title shot contender after JoJo's fight, whenever that fight happens. But right now I'm just focusing on this fight and the next fight that they give me, regardless of who it is.
Yeah, for sure. Got to be focused on what you're doing. And to that point, I'm kind of wondering what the preparations at Fight Ready are looking like. Like I'd seen an interview where you described some level of like social distance oriented kind of training. I'm kind of curious in terms of specifics. Like what does that represent? Like what does social distance training look like over at Fight Ready?
I really haven't been over at Fight Ready because Henry was doing his camp, so I was over at Siege MMA,
Oh, okay.
and it's pretty much you know the normal social distancing as much as we could do it, as far as making sure that each session was pretty small, so it was just me and my coaches and my two other things, and we were there, for our time frame, and then obviously Hunter would come in because he fought on the Wednesday card before me. So keeping the gym as clean as possible and as separated as possible, and I kind of like it because it's a little bit more hands-on for your camp instead of having like big groups. So I've kind of enjoyed, the social distancing part of it.
Yeah, and one aspect of that that I was seeing in an interview was that you're trying to, replicate certain conditions of the fight, and as far as like no music while training and certain things like that. But in a more normative camp, I'm kind of curious, like if there's, particular artists that you like to train to, or if there's like certain genres of music that would get you fired up in more of like a normalized sort of camp.
Retail. I worked retail, so I can listen to any kind of music as long as it's not like screaming hard psycho music, because that just stresses me out. But literally anything I mean, to me, it's whatever. Whether we were listening to music or if it was quiet, we didn't have music at soccer practice or anything like that. You just kind of had to, practice. So the whole music thing's kind of new to me. So I mean, I can tune anything out. If I like it, I'll listen to it. If not, I just kind of tune it out. But I mean, I'm really never in control. You control the radio, someone else is. So it's whoever's music's playing.
So you're not like jamming tunes like on the way to or from practice, even, or nothing on that end either, right?
No, not really. I mean, most of the time I'm listening to whatever Jakar is listening to. He likes to listen to music before the fights and stuff. So in practice, so I just listen to whatever he's listening to.
Yeah, and you mentioned Jakar. I mean, how key is it to have someone who's like so close to what you're doing? Like you guys have like a great family and everything like that, and you're both, oriented to like very similar goals and a very similar career path. How important is that for you to have that kind of dynamic at home there?
It's good. It really is. It really is good. It's easy to have someone that kind of understands literally everything you're going through. All the way down to actual weight cut time and, food prep, practice schedules, and all that. It does take a toll if you don't have someone that understands it. And luckily I have him, and he gets it. And especially right now going right back into camp, when you think you're going to have, if you have a spouse and you've been in camp for 6 weeks and then, we're going to go on vacation, we're going to do this, we're going to have some family time, and the next thing you know, it's like, oh, no, I got to go back into camp. It's hard when someone doesn't understand that, but luckily, I have him, and he was like, yep, it's a good opportunity, let's go do it. So here we go again.
Yeah, I love to hear that, and I also want to be mindful of your time and everything like that, though I imagine a lot of people want to be talking to you after the heels of that performance and just this big fight coming up here. So I thought I'd, put the ball in your court here. Is there anything you'd like to sort of add as a parting thought as we're kind of wrapping up here?
No, man, you guys are really the only people that reached out to talk to me. I like to keep it, I like to float under the radar. But I appreciate you guys calling and wanting to take the time out of your guys' day to talk to me. But, other than that, this is my job. This is what I do. I like to train. I like to fight. And I love my family and I love my teammates. And other than that, that's about it. I'm just a normal person.
Yeah, well, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be under the radar. I can empathize with that too. But this fight very much going to be on everyone's radar June 20th. People are going to be checking that out. UFC Fight Night 173, UFC Apex in Las Vegas, Nevada. Cortney Casey taking on Gillian Robertson. Just again, to reiterate, really appreciate all the time and insights there, Cortney. And yeah, best of luck with the remaining part of the camp there.
Thank you so much.